This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogsty Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 7, Episode 20, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington across social media. And I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing Washington life and sports as part of the mighty Hogsty Network audio and here on YouTube on video. All right, Matt, have a little fun with this one. Washington Commanders are playing the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, and normally you'd say, no, they're not going to win that game. That's going to be a butt kicking. And then you see that Packers are 3-3, and Aaron Rodgers isn't happy, and they don't have the receivers they want. And I don't know. I still kind of expect the Packers to win, but I give Washington a puncher's chance in this game now with Heineke coming in. New energy. You never know. Sometimes that makes a difference on a bump. It's in D.C. They have beaten them before. That's the time I remember seeing a couple have sex after the game on the plaza. And so I don't know. I give them a puncher's chance of doing this.
Yeah, I could see it, but this will be the game that Aaron Rodgers mounts his mighty comeback and they end up going 13-4 for the whole season. It always happens. This is the game where Aaron turns the corner and becomes the all-pro MVP, the $50 million man that he is. Granted, they don't have weapons, but then again, I don't know if we have the guys that can cover what they do have. They have two really good running backs, and their defense is pretty stout. I do think Heineke will give them a little bit of a buzz at the beginning of this game, a little kick in the butt. I think that, we saw it in the playoff game, and I know, look, that was a playoff game. It's a different energy and stuff like that. But Heineke, the guys seem to more rally around Heineke. You remember Chase Young grabbing him and pointing to his jersey, and all the guys, they seem to rally around him because he is that underdog. He has that underdog mentality. He's a smaller guy, a little guy playing quarterback. He can run. He's nimble on his feet, but yet he's going out there with the heart of a lion. I do think that they'll rally behind him. But it'll be a lot closer. It'll be a lot closer than if Wentz was in there. I think if it was Wentz, I would have said probably 31-17, something like that. But I think with this, the way that the defense has been playing the last 2 weeks, and then the little spark of energy that Heineke is going to bring, I could see it being maybe like a 27-24, 27-20 type game.
Well, I'm going Washington 23-21 on that. What the hell? But who's Heineke's favorite receiver?
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, who has 22 catches so far in 6 games because they couldn't find him. I bet you Heineke finds him. If you're playing fantasy ball, I'd invest in McLaurin this week on there. And, they have a whole new set of receivers behind them that Heineke didn't get to play with, with Samuel. And I don't know if Dotson will be back for this one. Maybe. We'll hear more about that by Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They've got different targets for him. He can, he won't be a statue in the back. He's going to roll out a little so he can see over people. But I give him some credit. Maybe he can do it. Nobody dives for the pylon better than Taylor. So, that's why I give him a puncher's chance to win this game.
Yeah, I'll go 27-24 Packers.
There you go, Packers. All right, so I thought I'd have a little fun. The trade deadline is November 1st. I can't ever remember Washington doing a trade in midseason. But if they did, William Jackson wants to be traded, reportedly. He's tired of playing in a system that doesn't work well for him and looking like a dope. So he's, he was benched, and then his back hurt. So he didn't go to Chicago for that game, whatever. So I think if they were to trade him, Detroit really needs corners. Detroit's, in a hunt for a playoff game for once. They haven't collapsed like usual. I can see Jackson going, but I don't know what you'd get for him. That's the thing.
Yeah. Last trade I remember that them doing in season was Clinton Dix from the Packers.
Oh yeah, that was. And that
actually, I think he was playing for the Bears at the time. Yeah, that was probably the last in-season trade that they did. Yeah, that's the problem. William Jackson, yeah, sure, you want to be traded, but at the end of the day, the team has done nothing to value you going to another team. There, you have no value on your head that's going to benefit this team as you leave. You know, what are they going to get for him? A fourth, fifth round draft pick? I mean, that's not going to help. You paid this guy $10 million.
Yeah. If you're wanting him as another team, it's because you're in a real playoff chase and you've lost your corners like Detroit has.
Or Buffalo. Buffalo's been short on corners.
Yeah, there's another one. And, so basically you're willing to maybe do this short term, but he is the second highest paid commander. So they wouldn't mind getting him off their books. Wentz and they cut Jackson and Wentz next year. I think it's like 38 million or something will come off the books. Shopping, for some people, which they haven't done in a while. They tend to do one signing and then it doesn't always work on there. But I can see that. Of course, Deron Payne, is playing out. They could franchise him, and then maybe they do that if they have room under the cap. Payne's played very well. I think Payne gets better every year. He's a pretty decent player as a number one. So if he walks, you get a third-round compensatory pick. So when you're trading him now, you have to think about that. You want something more than a third, or else you just keep him for the time. But I could see, San Francisco and the Chargers both could use an interior defensive lineman. So I could see that happening, especially San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to keep Deron Payne. I think they should have signed him last year. Payne has always been the better player to me in the Payne Allen debate. I just feel like Deron flashes more than John Allen, but they saw something in Allen. They paid him. They didn't want him to leave, so they kept John Allen. I don't know, man. Like you said, if you're not going to get more than a third, what are you going to trade for him? Why would you trade him if you're not going to get more than a third? Realistically, but what realistically is the value on him? Yeah, if somebody walks up to you and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you a first," yeah, it'll be a late round first, but hey, you take it, even a second, because maybe Wentz does come back and that compensatory pick turns into a second, so you inherited another second. I mean, early draft picks don't hurt. But if it's not a third round pick, then I don't see you doing it.
Yeah. And you could still franchise him if they really want. I kind of doubt they do that.
Yeah.
But he's coaching his team next year, if they free fall.
Well, if you play fantasy booker, I'll tell you what's going to happen next year.
All right, good.
I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Ron Rivera is not going to be fired. He's not going to quit. He will be the head coach of this team next year. He will, however, be having two new coordinators because he's going to lay blame on Scott and on JDR. So we will have a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. They're going to draft a offensive tackle or some sort of a lineman with the first pick, or not the first pick, but their first round pick, which will probably be in the top 10. And they're probably going to roll with Sam Howell next year. That's my week 6. What are we going into? Week 7 prediction for next season.
There you go. Nostradamus picks away. All right, here's one for you. Diani Brown. Normally I'd say, what are you going to get for him? He didn't even play him.
Yeah, he ain't worth nothing.
He's been a disappointment. He was a third round pick? But he had 2 monster touchdowns, a couple weeks ago. So when that happens, people suddenly go, well, listen, in the right system, this guy. And you need a burner. In Cleveland, which, is slowly fading, but Cleveland's lost its deep receivers. So maybe you could give, a third round for Diami. I think it's a little high. I probably want to give a little more. But here's a matter of where you have extra players at a position. It doesn't always work out after a while because of depth and injuries, but right now they could spare him. So I could see maybe you dangle Diami Brown out there.
Nah, Diami Brown's staying because how's your quarterback next year? That was his college teammate. That was his college guy. That was what Sam Howell got Diami Brown to become a third round draft pick. I think they keep him. I don't think he leaves. Not with Dotson. Look, him and Dotson are kind of interchangeable at this point. Dotson is definitely probably head and shoulders above Diami Brown just because of the hands. But they are kind of the same guy. They play the same receiver. I think you kind of hang on to him.
All right, Cornelius Lucas. I've always liked him as he's not an all-pro, but he's been a very good player to be able to, wherever you want to plug and play him. So right now, with Cosme hurt, he's playing right tackle. The Rams desperately need a tackle. and they still think they might go to the Super Bowl again. They're a short-term team the way they've structured things, and I think they're 3-3. So I mean, they could use this guy. So maybe you get something out of them. And if you lose a lineman, what's the difference at this point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, he played well since he's had to step in for Cosme. But yeah, I mean, at this point, their offensive line is a turnstile, so it doesn't matter really who you get rid of. just don't get rid of the left tackle. I like Leno.
That's the only guy on the line that you really keep.
Yep.
I mean, Norwell, nah, there's nothing there. Now they're on their fourth center, Tyler Larsen, who was playing last year and got hurt. Didn't play much before he got hurt. And I think they went through 5 centers last year. I mean, that's another weird thing about this team, how centers get hurt. But Larson was okay in his first game, but I don't know. I would move Cosme over to right guard, quite frankly, and put him there. Because I don't know, Sadiq Charles, I guess I could move him to left guard if I had to, and over Norwell. And so you'd have Cosme. I think Cosme's really a guard. Doesn't have the outside speed to catch these pass edge rushers. And Lucas has been there. So I'm not sure when Cosme's coming back yet. We haven't heard an injury update in a while on things. But they're just shuffling. I mean, that's why you got to go to a mobile quarterback. They just don't have the time, man. And you can't get past one Mississippi. It's a little hard to throw, do anything. You block all day for somebody, everybody looks good.
Exactly.
So there's my proposed trades. And William Fuller, if somebody really wants him, you can have him too. It's all about being desperate because of injuries that force these kind of things. And Washington, you can still lose without these guys and grab some more draft picks, which the drafts have been okay, I think, overall recently.
Yep.
All right. Oh, are we done early for once? I don't know. We don't get paid overtime anymore. So, all right. Well, if you want to buy the books, they're right there. There you go. We can always use them. Buy them from me. I'll sign them on my website there. Send them to Jeff Bezos at Amazon. He's not going to sign them for you. So you do that. And Rick Snyder's Washington on YouTube and Twitter, Rick Snyder's Washington. You can see the daily shows. Really picked up a lot of people recently. So the bandwagon's rolling down the road. What more can we ask for?
He does sign them.
Oh, yeah. The son I never wanted.
No, this is the son that I always wanted. The Redskins book says the son I'm glad I never had.
Oh, damn. I must have given you somebody else's book. All right. Well, I will survive. All right. Well, people love the bell. So I'm Rick Snyder.
I'm Matt.
And we'll be back next week. See you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent on the Hogstye Network.